Michael's motivated only out of concern for others, and it turns out that people that he loves are being held hostage by the very same forces that threw Lincoln into Fox River in the first place, that destroyed the brothers' lives. They're still very much at the mercy of these dark forces, and they want Michael to carry out certain tasks. There's a reason why he's in this new Panamanian prison. He's not there by chance, and he's now faced with the mystery that is Whistler. And I think that there's something in their dynamic where you potentially think that these two characters, Michael and Whistler, might be friends. Sona is based on a real prison, which I think is in Brazil, where the inmates took over the facility 10 years ago and were kind of left to rot, and the correctional officers hang out outside the prison with their guns, shoot anyone that tries to leave, and inside it's very much a Lord of the Flies scenario, where you have gangs, black market, drugs, prostitutes smuggled in and out, and Sona, our prison, makes Fox River look like Club Med. And what Michael finds in this new environment is a gangster, a kingpin named Lechero, who's a new character played by Robert Wisdom, who's coming to our show after 2 seasons on The Wire, I think. And he's just fantastic and very intimidating, kind of both on screen and off. He finds himself in the courtyard at Sona, which is our new prison in Panama, and he comes face to face with the brutality of this new environment. Season 3 begins with a death right off the bat, and that's an indication, I think, of how serious the stakes are. Well, Michael's in prison in Sona with T-Bag and Bellick and Mahone, 3 of his deadliest enemies. Part of Prison Break's, I think, winning formula. I think one of the reasons this show is so compelling to watch is that we do ask this question. What happens when you throw 8 alpha dogs in a box and shake it? You know, when you have sworn enemies who are forced to work together for a common goal, what happens? I think those dynamics are always fascinating to watch. But at the same time, Bellick and T-Bag and Mahone have made Michael's life a living hell for the last 2 seasons. And Mahone murdered his father in cold blood last year, so I don't think there will be an automatic alignment between these forces. I think it'll be something forced probably out of necessity. I think these 4 characters are in way over their head, and in order to make it out of the situation alive, they'll have to band together. But then that leads to another question, which is, how can Michael allow these dangerous characters to escape from this new prison, especially when he was responsible for T-Bag escaping the first time around? I think he is stronger, tougher, more resilient, but at the same time, he's also in danger of becoming, like the hardened criminals that he's been consorting with for the last 44 some odd episodes. And I think the question we face 3rd season is the one we've been flirting with all along, and that's how far across the line can a good man go before you can no longer call him good. He's a good man, still on a hero's journey, but his hands are absolutely filthy, and there's a question of whether or not they can ever be clean. Well, this is what I discussed with the writers before we started season 3. I said, I don't think we can just drop Michael in a new prison and expect him to start planning his escape, because Michael is a very conscientious person. A lot of lives have been damaged and lost in the course of achieving Lincoln's exoneration, and I think he takes that guilt, that responsibility very seriously. I think there's a part of Michael that believes maybe I do belong in prison. Maybe this is the only way I can atone for my sins. So I said, we can't have Michael looking over his shoulder afraid for his life. It's not about self-preservation. It's about self-sacrifice. Only if his survival means the survival of someone else, someone that he cares about, like Lincoln, LJ, or Sarah, will he then want to endure the situation. Prison Break, and I think this is one of our strengths, marries these big set pieces, marries the explosions, the gunfights, the life and death stakes with very small, seemingly trivial pursuits, like an entire episode spent finding an egg beater, for which you'll drill through the wall of prison, or an entire episode finding that one cell phone to make that one call. Very small, very seemingly insignificant in and of itself, but around which this whole universe teeters. And people love the ticking clock, and goodness knows we have that too. the episodes that we're shooting now feel to me to be as strong, if not stronger, than anything we've shot before. So in a way, Michael going back to prison is a bummer, but I think it's actually re-energized the show. Second season, we had to cover a lot of ground, literally and figuratively, and what it meant post-escape was that we didn't have a tight little nucleus around which everything rotated. First season was dominated by Fox River. It infiltrated every moment of the story that we were trying to tell, and I think people are fascinated by prison stories. We're fascinated by what it is that goes on behind those walls. We like to imagine how we would do in the darkest of scenarios, and third season is going to take a lot of those same compelling dynamics and just turn it up one extra notch. I think in a way, this is going to be our best, most deadly, most compelling season yet.